Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, let me just pop something in this chat for when you guys jump on. Uh, so, here we are. I hope we're all well. Welcome to the channel. This is another impromptu um, live um, that I was asked to make a video, and I I thought, you know what, let's just go live with this and just see where it goes, see what happens, see what I feel, any information that might pop in to be aware of. And yeah, we'll just go with it and just see what happens. So maybe for the next hour or so, I'll just be here chatting. So feel free to jump on whenever you do, or if you don't jump on for this video, it will be on the channel for you guys to check out at a later date. Again, like I said in the last live, if you need to, drop your thoughts, drop your comments into the comment section below. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So what is this video about today? Or what we're going to talk about mainly? Mainly, we're going to talk today about the shift of consciousness. And there's a lot of it talked about. 3D, 5D, 9D, 12D, all different dimensions that are in and around our reality of where we are currently in this realm. And it's quite a deep subject really to talk about because we are 3D, we are in a 3D reality, we are in a physical reality. Um, so what do we mean when we talk about the shift from 3D to 5D? So 3D is basically the world as we know it, the physical world, the 9 till 5, the eat, sleep, repeat, the belief that everything um, that we rely on is from this system that doesn't really um, it doesn't really serve our highest good. And probably many of you are aware of that this system that is here isn't here for our highest good. And this is this is something that we'll probably touch on slightly, but I'm not going to get too deep into that because I've written some notes here just before I came on. And so I've written notes about 3D, about 5D. Sorry about the dogs barking, but the dog next door has just set them off. Um, so I've written three groups of notes. The first group being the reality. So that's where we are currently. The second is the journey. So the journey from these two or these various points within our life. And then the third point is the future. You know, what I feel this may hold, what may happen, what could go on. So the reality of the shift. So basically, the reality is that we're here on Earth to experience a physical life. We are human beings. We are spirit in form. So that is the key component to be aware of, is that we are spirit in form in a physical reality. Um, so that is who we are. We can't change that. We can't change. So I think a lot of people believe that we're going to go from um, one level of reality and then become kind of spirit or an energy. Um, what I feel is happening over a period of time is that we are becoming lighter, but we're becoming lighter because we're letting go of a lot of stuff. We're doing a lot of inner work. We're doing a lot of people are being pushed into corners that maybe there's only one way to escape, and that is to awaken spiritually and to go through this process. So when I talk about awakening spiritually, this is kind of like, this isn't an overnight thing, because this this affects the whole planet, and it affects every single person on the planet. So it's not an easy thing to go through. And if you are going through something such as a spiritual awakening, and if you have been going through it over the last sort of 10, 15 years, maybe longer, maybe shorter, whatever, then think yourself lucky, because you're starting to see things the way they really are. You're starting to see behind the veil of what this physical reality represents, and the majority of it is lies. The majority of it is an illusion, and this is why a lot of movies, a lot of films talk about this, especially films like, The Wizard of Oz, The Veil, The Unveiling, going behind the veil and seeing the people that are behind there that aren't really overly powerful at all. Um, so that is kind of like our reality, and we can't really change that as such. But there are things that we go through that do have an overriding effect on the collective, on the planet, on ourselves individually, and that's where we need to work. We need to work individually to have the grander effect on the collective. So the journey, which is the second part of what I've written down, the journey itself, what I've written down here is kind of like it's going through trauma, going through difficulties, going through the awakening, uncovering you, uncovering who you really are, your healing, your ego death, shadow work, and connecting deeply to your essence, to your spiritual essence, to understand who you are fully. And I think many of us probably won't even know who we are fully. We've also got a lot of work to go through. Um, and and that comes, again, like I said, that comes from the individual, from you, from doing that inner work. And that's why we see a lot of people on this journey that are looking into shadow work and pain body and self-awareness, and looking at alternative practices, alternative therapies, developing their abilities so they become more intuitive, they become more aware of themselves, become more aware of not just the physical reality, but the energetic reality that is around us as well. And when you go through all this work and all this shedding and all this unveiling, you do become aware of a lot more stuff. Whether you can conceive and say what it is or not, it really depends um, on you, on your journey, on the individual. And again, so that's the word, that's the key word, I think, is the individual. It all comes down to you. It comes down to the individual with regards to this progression of energy, this shift of energy that we're going through. And again, that is another key word, is the energy. So we're in a physical reality, and we are physical beings, although we are spirit within the physical reality, but we are physical. We are in the 3D. Yes, we can be aware of the energy around us and the energy that is within us, um, but we have to carry that sense of awareness and spirit that is within us. We have to carry that through each day, through the various people that we meet, through the interactions, the coming and going of different energies, whether they are physical or non-physical. Um, so what was I going on to there? I was trying to go on to something. I've just lost my train of thought. Um, so yeah, so the key here is about energy. So energy is something that we can't really, although we can feel it and we can perceive it, we don't really see it. We kind of, like I said, we feel it and we're just aware of it. Sometimes you can see it. Sometimes you can see energy. You can see movement. You can see like little fractures in in the reality, in the veil. You can see the split. Sometimes you may be able to see like lights or energy lights or spirit lights or things that you might be aware of on that side of things. Um, but most of the time, when we do see it, we see it internally, and we feel it, or we see it in the third eye, and we're just aware of it. And that is where this shift is coming from. It's coming from the awareness. It's coming from the shift of awareness from being stuck in the rooted, um, fragmented belief of just one reality, and that's it. You go to work, you come home, you have your tea, you sleep, and you repeat it again. And that is the reality of that side of things, and that is the ego keeping people pinned into that reality. So, and that's where we talk about the ego death, because as people start to progress on their journey, they question more and more and more, and they become more aware of other things that may be going on that they can't explain. And for a while, the ego will question that, and they will say, well, the ego will tell them that, well, it's just a coincidence, or that's just the way it is, or and the ego will give some sort of strange belief. The ego is always there in the background, kind of bumbling around, trying to give you plausible excuses, um, to make you think that, well, that's just the way it is. But then when we start to sense a little bit deeper and go deeper with that, we we can feel that there is a different element, a different vibration, a different feeling from it all. And that's where we kind of, when we start connecting deeply to ourselves, our intuition, our spirit, our awareness, um, it's a lot easier to feel. It's a lot easier to be aware of. Plus, it's a lot easier to let go of stuff that really you don't need anymore. You don't need a lot of the fancy stuff. You don't need the flash car. You don't need the big palace of a house. You don't need all these other things that people believe in the 3D, or the egoic mind believes that that's what they need to make them happy, to make them feel like they've succeeded in life. And then they get to the end of the life and like, well, what I've purpose, what, what have I actually achieved other than that? And then maybe passed it on to inheritance, or family or whatever. But they might not have achieved what they feel, because I think as you get older, you want to, um, be able to achieve more on a soul level, rather than just be stuck in a job that you don't really like, or a way of being that you don't enjoy, or around a group of people that you just think, oh, here we go again. It's a Saturday night, it's the same old rigmarole, or whatever. All that sort of egoic 3D stuff. It all starts to break away, but the ego and the system will try to keep you pinned into that place. Um, and again, that element of forcing and trying to keep you pinned, it will either have the effect where you kind of just unleash and move forward, with power, with strength, and with grace into the unknown, or you just remain pinned and stuck in that reality. So it's down to the individual person at the end of the day to let themselves go from that reality, from that way of being. So and that's where a lot of the healing work that comes into. And I think right now we're in that's where we're at. Globally, we're in this place of healing. We all need to do so much healing still. Um, and people, I've had clients come to me before where they've said they've had like a Reiki session. They've said, "Oh, so is that it now? Am I healed?" I'm like, well, no. It goes much deeper than that. It's not just like one session of this and one session of that and you're healed. And we always use the analogy of the layers of the onion and all that sort of stuff, which it becomes a bit like of a samey thing where people say the same thing all the time, and but that's what it is. Um, and if you think that you could have had thousands or millions of lives, not just on Earth, but in other dimensions as other beings, then you've got all this healing to do as well. The soul healing, the fractal healing, um, and not just the healing within the physical life. That there is so much that needs to go on. So that is part of the journey. That is part of that section of of the life that we're talking about currently is the journey and the movement through from one energy to the other energy. And again, because we're talking about energy, it's nothing we can physically point out. We can't say that, oh, this is where I am now, and this is where I want to be. It's a way of being. It's a harnessing of the energy. It's being able to move with the energy and feel the energy, rather than just being fixated on a point that you can actually say. Because as we know, like, distance and time has no relevance within energy. It's only us and our egoic mind that wants to pin um, a time limit onto things, or um, yeah, we're always looking for that thing that we can just point at and say, well, that's when it's going to be. That's the date. That's, again, as soon as you start pointing at a date, it's taking you out of the now, which is the most important place to be on your spiritual evolution, is within the now. Because if you're constantly being pulled away to a future point, then you're losing everything in the moment. You're losing everything that's happening now, and things can only unfold in the now. They can't unfold 20 years down the line. You have to wait for that to come into your physical reality. So it really is a balance between two knowings, two understandings, from the physical to the energetic, the physical to the metaphysical. There's two huge polarities, two huge shifts that we need to go through. Oh, I've got a dog here. Move. Thank you. So that is kind of like the journey. That is the process. That is the place. That is the where we're moving to, going through within the journey. And then, obviously the future is where we end up. And a lot of things are pinned on the 5D, but the 5D goes kind of like, it goes beyond that. The 6D, 7D, 8D, 9D, 12D. There's so many different dimensions that that really, again, it's something that we can be aware of, but again, we don't want it to be pulled. We don't want to be pulled out of the present moment, because um, we're constantly looking. If we're constantly looking for something to be aware of in the future, then we're coming out of the now. Hey, Leon, thanks for joining. I thought I'd drop you a message and let you know that I was jumping on. So just as a recap for you, Leon, I just talked about kind of the beginning of it, which you'll see again um, when it gets uploaded on the channel. But I've talked about kind of like the reality um, of the shift of what it is. And then I've just been discussing about the journey, about all the stuff that we have to go through, the healing, the awakening, what the 3D to the 5D really is, um, and the energetic side of things. And I'm just going to start touching on the future. So basically, what is 5D? People are always talking about 5D, and again, it's basically the consciousness. It's an element of consciousness that we step into, or we tap into. But because we're physical beings, in a physical reality, in the 3D, we can't forget that we are in 3D, but energetically we can be in 5D, we can be in 4D, we can be beyond that. It just depends on us, and how we're able to work on ourselves, work on our healing, work on I suppose our level of stability in life as well. Because if we're not grounded and focused and stable, and we're too busy looking for something else, then again, we're going to be very ungrounded, because we're not staying um, within the reality of who we are. We're constantly looking for something else, constantly looking for a seeking of something. And for me personally, going when I'm moving through vibrational fields, when I'm doing healing work, and it doesn't always happen, but sometimes there will be shifts within the physical body. I will be aware of things going on. I will be aware that I'm feeling lighter, or there'll be a ringing in the ears, or I'll just feel like I'm floating a little bit out of my body, or if I stand up, I feel a lot taller. Um, but it is it's a for me, it is a reality. It is a feeling. It's an emotion. It's an energetic way of being, as all these things are. It's the way we behave to ourselves. It's the way we behave to others. It's if we act on a level of compassion and love, or do we act on a level of guilt, grief, and hatred. It's the two polar opposites of energies. So you can either be in the egoic side of things, where you're feeling the guilt, you're feeling the grief, you're feeling the hatred, you're being stuck and anchored by the ego in that place, in that way of being. Or you can um, surrender, which takes a lot, and there's many different levels of surrender. Um, but you can let go. The more you let go of, the more you do the inner work, the more you heal yourself, the more shadow work you work with, the more you look at your pain body, the more you look at your triggers, the more you look at things that really set you off, then you can look at that and say, well, why is that making me react? What part of my ego is keeping me pinned in that part of my reality? Because I'm feeling now that I need to let go of that. And usually when you get triggered and you're aware of the trigger, you're aware of the emotion that is arising, your self-awareness within the self is more potent. You're in a much stronger, grounded place. The majority of people will be totally unaware of feelings, of emotions, of triggers that come up, and just think it's just normal. But when you become more aware of it, your your self-awareness is more potent. So your vibration is changing, your vibration is lifting, and you are moving through that process of changing the vibration, of changing the frequency. Um, so yeah, so that for me is, so if everybody went through this at the same time, and the whole world was living from the heart space, and filling the world with love and with joy, I would say probably for around about, for quite some time, I think there will be still a lot of disruption, because you can't just go from one way of being to another. That there has to be a process between that. So there will be, and that's what we're seeing. That's what is going on the planet. That is why we're seeing so much, just distractions and war and all this other stuff that they keep putting out there to try and keep us in that state. The state of fear is another low vibrational place to be, and a very powerful low vibration. If you can keep people in a state of fear, which most of the population has been for, well, forever probably, then then you've kind of like you've got a powerful stance on things. Um, but when people start going through this process of self-healing and awareness and self-awareness and awakening, and becoming connected more spiritually to themselves, becoming more intuitive, becoming more harmonious within themselves, within nature, um, then you can start to feel more and be aware of more. And fundamentally, that is something that the system doesn't want you to do. That it doesn't want you to become aware, because if you become aware of everything, then you're going to see through the veil, which is what I mentioned at the beginning. You're going to see through the veil that is on The Wizard of Oz. You're going to see behind and see the illusion of these people that are trying to pull the strings, but people are cutting the strings and not are taking their own lives into their own hands, and making their own decisions. And that is power. That is a powerful place to be when you want to be sovereign. You want to claim back your strength. You want to claim back your unity. You want to claim back your spirit. Um, that connection to your spirit is, I would say, it is the most powerful place to connect to, is your spirit, your intuition, your your inner voice, your guidance, your gut feeling. Everything about that is connected to source, to God, to the universe, whatever you want to call it. Um, so that for me is kind of like what 5D is. What can we expect? What I've written down here, what can we expect? Is it here now? So that I think that there are elements of 5D here now. I think there is, and that's why we're seeing so much turbulence. We've got a lot of 4D here now, because we've got these people that are in this interim phase where the shackles of the 3D and the ego death, the shadow work, the pain body, all the inner work that is taking place through, um, and the exposure to it as well, which is when you look on like YouTube, you look on social media, there's a lot more stuff, a lot more adverts out now about alternative ways of healing, alternative practices, meditation practices. There is so much out there now in the forefront of people to be able to tap into and tune into. And and that tuning into that again, when someone feels that pull towards something, when someone feels that, um, something just resonates on some level, then that is their spirit, that is their soul saying, yes, I want some of that, I need some of that. That is what I need to do. I need to let go of this because this hasn't served me. All it's done is create stress, heartache, worry, fear, all the different things that the system likes to, shove on us all the time. People are saying, let's just get rid of a little more of that, and let's have a little bit more of that. Let's more harmonious stuff into my life, please. Can I have more love? Can I have more self acceptance? Can I have more self awareness? Can I have more? Um, Awareness of pain body? Can I have more healing? Can I have more stuff just in my reality that makes my soul sing? So for me, example, my journey when I was starting, um, it was stepping away from a job that I didn't enjoy. The people that were there were fairly negative, and then I moved on to a path of meditation, which is healing. Looking at meditation, working on myself, healing myself, trying to bring clarity to the mind. And then I started seeing things about crystals. So I started bringing crystals into my reality. And then I was seeing things about Reiki. So I need to find out more about Reiki and bringing all these different elements into my reality. Later on, things like tarot and oracle cards, I started using them because people were tapping into them a little bit more. Sound, other forms of healing, uh, massage, and learning various ways to self heal physically. The food that we take in, something else that happens to us as well when we go through this process of changing energy, because everything is energy within us. Um, we may go from having a diet of, meat and two veg 7 days a week, and that was the done thing. That was the meals. And then as the consciousness and evolution of your energy changes, you start to realize, having that much meat, it's making me feel heavy. I'm having a few stomach issues. I can't eat as much as I used to. I just like to eat small meals. I want to lose a bit more. I need to lose a bit of weight. I want to do more exercise. I need more, as Leon's rightly says there, I need more joy in my life. I need more laughter in my life. And you start to bring different habitual states into your everyday life because it's something you want more of. You want to feel that raise in your energy. You want to feel that raise in your vibration. And that is all what this is about. Um, so, I think some people may believe that we go from being this physical thing to a non physical thing, but we already are the non physical thing that is within us. That is our spirit. The spirit is the energy that is within us that is changing vibration. The spirit is waking up. The spirit is becoming awakened. Your energy is awakening to the reality of what you see with the physical eyes. That is the physical reality, but the internal reality of what you connect with on an energetic level. When you feel your body just filled with love, when you feel your body filled with joy, when you feel your body filled with laughter, when you feel your body just going through all these different emotions and go doing the healing and doing the inner work and sometimes going through heavy stuff. Sometimes when you hit a wall and you've got a lot of heavy stuff to deal with, that's get ready for a big shift because that wall is a sign to you, it's a message to you that, right, we need to put the brakes on here. We just need to slow things down a little bit and just take your time. Just take your time. And again, because energy doesn't know time, it doesn't know distance, it doesn't know space, it's just ever present. But your physical body, it's the way you react to that level of energy. Your physical body will go through a lot of stuff. And, so the energetic body, uh, it upgrades very quickly from downloads, from memories, from realizations, from channeling, whatever it may be. It upgrades very, very quickly. Plus, with the inner healing work as well. But the physical body, because it's so dense, we have to work with that. We have to allow the healing to take place in the physical body. Once you got to that certain level, and sometimes, me personally, I'm guilty of it too. Occasionally, sometimes I'll hit a wall, bump, and I just feel dead in my tracks for weeks, and I just think, when is this going to shift? And then all of a sudden, after like maybe 2.5, 3 weeks, whatever it may be, I'll start to feel a lightness starting to come over me. Oh, it's starting to move now. It's starting to shift. That really, no, it's okay, Leon. You go for a walk, get some fresh air. It does get dark very quick in the UK now on an evening. Yeah, definitely. So, but yeah, you can check back on this later on. Um, so yeah, so that is what is happening physically. That level of healing that we're having to go through. Um, so the next thing I've written down here, the next question is, how long is it going to take? How long will this shift take? And like for me, like how long's a piece of string? Again, energy knows no time, it knows no distance, it knows no spaciousness. It just is. It's just always ever present, and that's why we need to be in the now. That's why we need to be present in the now. And then we can really tune in to that ever present energy that is always there, that is always residing within our physical. Um, there's lots of dates that get thrown around about when it's going to happen. I try not to get bogged down too much with it, and because again, that if someone says, "Oh, well, this is going to happen then," and straight away I'm just thinking, "Oh, please bring that year around. Please, let's just get there. Let's just get there." And again, the egoic mind kicks in. It brings you out of the present moment, and you're constantly thinking about that moment in the future rather than thinking and being in the now. So I think that's a bit of a trick. I think that's a bit of a trickster thing that likes to be put out there. People keep throwing dates out there, and it's a little bit of a. I don't think it's right to throw dates out there, because for me, it happens when it happens. But from what I feel, from what I've seen, from the people that I've spoke to, I think some of it is already here on some level. 4D is definitely here. There's still a lot of 3D. 4D is definitely here, but I think there's an element of 5D already here within some people because of the work that we're doing, the work that we're all going through. And collectively, When you're doing that work collectively, it's having an effect. It's having an overall effect on the rest of the population, the rest of the planet. Whether you believe we're all connected or not, that's irrelevant. I just think that, for me personally, that we all are. We have to be. We have to be for for things to happen at the way they've happened. The speed and regularity of the way things have happened, the uncaging of this awareness from within that has happened, and it's all happened uh, relatively quickly, collectively. So yeah, we've got to be all connected on some level. So is thing I've written down there is time. Is time reality within dimensional? Oh, is so that's kind of like what I was touching on there about the time thing. It's not really reality within the dimensional shift. So in our reality, in the physical, we can always wonder and ponder, like, well, when will it happen? What day, what time, what year is it going to happen? And again, straight away, the mind's kicking in, and you're thinking about it, and it takes you away from the now. So I think at the minute, I think it's nice just to be aware that there is a change. There is a change coming. There is a new reality on the horizon. There is a new way of being. There is definitely a dimensional shift because you can feel it. And I think you see as well more that people's egos are tested more as well. So there is still a lot of cracks. There is still a lot of work to go through that people have to go through. And that's all part of, again, that's part of our physical reality, that the ego and the system keeping people pinned, like I mentioned at the beginning, keeping people pinned into that reality and that way of being, through the likes of social media, technology, tech, devices, commercialism, this kind of social anxiety thing that takes over the planet, takes over the population, and all the other things that come around with it as well. This division, that you have to have this, you have to have that, you have to get this. The consumerism, the mass consumerism, the competition between this company and that company, and there's so much that goes on that tries to keep you, the mainstream media, the newspapers, and I just don't pay attention to any of it now. I just can't be bothered with it. It's just all got, even when I look at newspapers that might have a vibration to it that they may think is a little bit lighter or whatever, it just feels wrong. Something about it all just feels wrong. And that is because of, and a lot of people watching this will, and who tune into this will feel that and will be aware of that. And that's because of the work that we've all been doing individually. And we become more aware of it. We become more aware of what we're feeling, what we're seeing. We're open. We're seeing through the illusion and through the veil. So yeah, it's an interesting journey. We've still got a long way to go, I feel. But again, that's the concept of time. And it will just happen when it happens, as we move through these frequencies one by one. It will probably come to a point where the next thing will be from 5D to 7D or 7D to 9D or 9D to 12D or whatever. There's all these different frequencies that we can go through, but that's more that's such elevated. I would think that we would need to be different from what we are now. I think we would have to physically evolve to match that frequency. I don't think these physical bodies could exist in that level of frequency, in that level of dimension. Um, and maybe that's a topic just for discussion for the future about other beings, other dimensions, races, lost civilizations. Maybe that's something to talk about in the future on another live. But there we go. That's just my thought with regards to that, with regards to the shift, this evolution of consciousness, of where we're moving from, where we're moving to, the journey, what's involved with the journey. So I hope you enjoyed. Much love. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you all soon. Bye for now.